Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to be covering message types inside of your chatbots. Okay, so this is a pretty important topic, so make sure you definitely pay attention to what I'm saying here. All right, so let's go ahead and create a brand new bot. Okay, now what you're going to see when you first enter in here is the message types. Okay, you're going to see three of them. There's a promotional message, an update message, which is non-promotional, and a subscription message, which is also non-promotional. Okay, so we're going to review each of these. But let's just start right here with a promotional message. Okay, and I'm going to hop right over here straight to the policy for Facebook, and we'll read what that one says there. Okay, so it says businesses and developers have up to 24 hours to respond to a message sent by a person in Messenger. A bot may also send one additional message after the 24-hour time limit has expired. The 24-hour limit is refreshed each time a person responds to a business through one of the eligible actions listed in the Messenger conversation entry points. And we're going to review those as well here in just a second. This is commonly referred to as the 24+1 policy. Okay, so your bot has 24 hours in order to respond to a person entering a conversation with you through these entry points, which we'll review. And you also, after that 24 hours, you still have one more chance to go ahead and message that person. Now, this is specifically in regards to promotional content. Okay, so let's look at the usage guidelines. All right, so first, I'm just going to jump right down here. Promotional content is allowed for standard messaging. Note that promotional content is not allowed for subscription messaging, which we'll talk about next. So for a business or developer to send a message to a person in Messenger, the person must initiate contact first. Okay, and examples of how this contact is initiated include the person tapping the Get Started button on a welcome screen, or tapping a Send to Messenger plugin, sending just a manual message, etc. Okay, so we have many different ways that we can go ahead and do that. Now let's just go ahead and take a look quick at what these Messenger conversation entry points are. So what this says is that one of those entry points is just anybody that actually just sends a manual message to your business through Messenger, okay? The person could also start that conversation with the business via a call to action button within a Messenger conversation, okay? So when you include call to actions and buttons and quick replies in your bots, every time somebody clicks one of those, it refreshes that 24-hour period, okay? So that will then start over, and you can resend them promotional-based content, okay? A person starts a conversation with a business via plugins such as Send to Messenger, Checkbox plugin, etc. Okay, now those are the most important ones that we want to worry about there. So how that directly relates to Segmate is that means basically any feature that we have, whether it's your welcome message, your persistent menus, using page level keywords, using any of the subscriber tools that we just talked about, the checkbox plugin, the customer chat plugin, Send to Messenger plugin, messenger codes plugin, all of those, if a user initiates contact with you using any of those methods, then you're fine to go ahead and send them something promotional, okay? Now, again, every time they click a button inside of that bot, it will then reset, and that 24-hour period will restart, okay? So, again, in relation to Segmate, there's really only two instances where you would not want to use promotional messages, okay? And it just depends, but it would be using sequences or what's called our Cast Engage, which is our broadcasting tool, okay? And we'll get to those here in just, there's actual tutorials around every single one of these features that I've mentioned, so please take the time to go ahead and watch those, and that'll explain a little bit more. For now, I want to concentrate more on the messaging types in this particular video. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump down to subscription messaging, and we'll come back to update message here at last, okay? Because they're kind of related. So a subscription message cannot contain promotional content, but can be sent at any time, regardless of time passed since the last time a user interacted with your bot. Okay, so that means you can send at any time. There is no time limit. There's no time restraints, but it cannot be promotional material, okay? So an example of that type of promotional material, I'm actually going to go ahead and hop right back over here because they have some pretty good examples. Right here. Super Monday deals, eat one beef burger and get another free. Here's your discount code. Okay, so that is a promotional based message, and you cannot do that. The best way to use subscription messaging is to your very first message really should just ask them a question. Okay. And you'll start to kind of get this as I say it. But if you just ask them a simple question, now in the end, you're already going to have this subscriber. When you're using subscription messaging, like I said, it's usually used for our Cast Engage feature, which is our broadcasting tool, or sequences. So they're already subscribers. So in some way, they've already engaged with you in the past, but a lot of time may have passed since they've come on as a subscriber. So we want to use subscription messaging in that case. So the best thing to do is just to simply ask them a question. Are you interested in our upcoming event? Yes or no. So you put a yes or a no button in there. The minute that they click either of those buttons, you are now put back into what's called promotional. It's the promotional messaging. So now the 24-hour time has started. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? So that first initial message is going to be non-promotional, but as soon as they click that button, you can then go back to a promotional type of message. Okay, so that is so with subscription messaging, you must fall into specific use cases. Okay, so news. So it would be integrations with those primary purposes to inform people about recent or important events. Provide information in categories such as sports, finance, business, real estate, weather, traffic, politics, government, and so on and so forth. Okay, now this is not limited to this, but these are suggested use cases for news. There's also what's called productivity use case, and those are for the primary purpose is to enable people to manage their personal productivity with tasks, such as managing calendar events, receiving reminders. Maybe you have a webinar coming up and you're going to remind them. They've already signed up, so you're going to remind them, and paying bills. The last one is the personal trackers, which is much more towards your health and your fitness, as well as finance. Okay, so you must fall into one of those three use cases in order to even use a subscription messaging type. Okay, in order to use this type, whatever your content is must fall into one of those use cases. All right, again, no promotional content, but it can be sent at any time. There is no time restraints for subscription messaging. Okay. So what I'm going to do is jump now to this update message, because this is very, very similar to subscription message. Now, the reason that we have this in here, okay, and I'm going to read the little description here. It says, update messages give you the ability to send messages to a person outside of the normally allowed 24-hour window for a limited number of purposes, okay? Using tags to send promotional content, examples, daily deals, coupons, discounts, sale announcements, is against the policy. Now, when I say using tags, I mean any of these tags that are right in here, okay? And we'll talk about that in just a second. So this is as you see, it's very similar to this. But I think what Facebook has found, there's two things. Number one, not everybody fits into those three use cases that we talked about right here, but would still have a valid reason to send them a message after that 24+1 policy expires, right? So what they've done is they've gone ahead and given us a bunch of different, even more use cases that we can use, and apply to it that fall outside of that subscription messaging. Now, that's the first reason. Number two is as of December 31st, 2018, applications will no longer be allowed to allow our customers to just simply use subscription messaging, okay? You, as a page admin, need to submit a request to have your page approved to have subscription messaging. So if you have that approved, basically starting January 1, 2019, then this option will always be available to you depending on which page that you're using and that it is approved. Now, below this tutorial, there's actually I talk about how to get that approval. So just go ahead and check that out as well. Okay. Now, let's hop back over to update message. As I said, it's very similar to subscription messaging. So these two types, if subscription message is available to you or not, these two types are best used for sequences and for our Cast Engage broadcaster. And this is the reason is because a lot of time may have elapsed before the last time you've spoken to them. And as you notice, for both of these types, that they are allowed outside the 24-hour window as long as you fit into the proper use cases for these tags or the cases that I've talked about in subscription messaging. Okay, so again, I'm just going to say it again. These two are best used for our sequences and the cast engage. Okay. Now, we have a variety of tags. I'm not going to go through every single one and what they are. Below this video, you're going to find an explanation of every single one of them. So it gives you a little bit of idea about which one may fit best for the content you're trying to send. So you have community alerts, event reminders is a big one, game events, ticket updates, appointment updates, and so forth. So go ahead and please check those out to see what would best fit your particular content that you're wanting to send. Okay. So that is basically it for message types. The message type is required. You must select one of these in order to save your bot and send your bot. We always like to throw out some guidance here is don't try to fool the system because Facebook does look at these things. So if you choose a community alert type of a message that's the type of content you say you're saying and you end up promoting something else or it's completely different, you're going to have one of two things happen or both. Number one, the bot simply will not send, or number two, they're gonna shut off your access to Messenger for that particular fan page. So you have to be very careful the way that you use these things. So like I said, there's many different tags. I think there's 15 different scenarios here that you can use, plus anything in subscription messaging. Okay, so just make sure that you follow those rules and everything should be fine. If you have any questions, you can always reach us at support@segmateapp.com.